Hello, princesses, and welcome back to Not Fit for Print Beauty with me, Rebecca. I am surrounded right now today by 6 new brushes from Sonia G. So we are here to talk about the new Fundamentals set. Now I'm going to give you all of the information that I have. I purchased this pre-sale. I did purchase them, but pre-sale, and usually that ends up shipping out with the orders once it goes into wider sale. But I got them early, so we might as well talk about it. And depending upon when you're watching this video, these do go on sale on the 18th, which is a Tuesday, and I will have the link below. Unless you're watching it before that, then I'll add the link. So I'd love for you to come back and use my link. It helps support this channel, if you don't mind. Not required. Okay, so let's talk about these brushes. I have washed mine and have been playing with them. And what I'm going to try to do, you guys, is do a bit of a primer. Now, Sonia G herself has a website that I'll link below called sweetmakeuptemptations.com. And you can get more information on Sonia's site, where she is very meticulous and extremely well spoken and really, really precise in her description about the brushes and their importance and their comparison to other brushes. So I want you to go there for more information. I will try to keep this just to the basics so you can decide whether or not this is a smart purchase for you. And I have very limited makeup on right now, so we'll even demonstrate and use them as we speak about them, just to kind of keep the brevity here. Okay, all right, so let's talk about this. This is a new Fundamental set, which is for sale as a set, which is a massive about $400. I'm saying about because I'm seeing my purchase with tax and such is like 402 American dollars, but I can give you the precise individuals as well. If you don't want to spend the oodles on the full set, then you can buy these individually, and they will be on sale as such. Okay, so at the end of 2017, Sonia G came out with her first face set. As you recall, they were in a kind of thicker handled, really pretty kind of black and red handle on them. And they were exquisite, but Sonia G's brand of brushes has continued to evolve. Plus there were some supply issues there. And also Sonia wanted to start working with, different types of woods and wood. Like we saw Kiyaki wood in the Kiyaki set, and we saw walnut in the brush holders, which I believe Sonia G says are coming back. So it was kind of time that those were retired, and we had the Sky set that came out, and the Lotus set, with thinner handles. So these thicker handles have been replaced with walnut handles. And now 4 of these brushes, so we have 6 brushes. I'm going to show them all to you, but just to let you know, 4 of them are absolute re-additions. They are the exact same brush, but they have a walnut handle instead of the kind of thicker red and black handle. We have one re-edition from the mini Kiyaki, and I'll show you that one. And then there's one new design. The Worker L is brand new, and that rounds out all 6 of them. So we're going to talk about them, use them a little bit. So as I told you, my set was, I think, 402 with tax, so I guess just under 400. Sorry that I don't have all the perfect information, as they're not officially on sale yet, depending on when you're watching it. Again, that is on the 18th. All right, so let's talk about them. I've got kind of some classic stuff that we're going to work with, just for me to briefly show you what they look like and how you will use them, okay? So the first thing we have is the Worker L. Let's talk about the Worker L. This is a brand new one, and this is dyed Seikoho goat hair. And when it's dyed, it really is best just for powder. The undyed can be used for liquid and cream as well. I prefer to use the Sonia G Fusion. Totally different set, with combined some synthetic with natural fibers. I like that better for my liquid and cream products, but it's up to you. It is recommended that these dyed are for powder, so just kind of keep that in mind. So this is the brand new one. This is the Worker L, and on its own, the Worker L is going to be $35. It is a brand new one, so I thought I would show it to you first. This can be used to highlight, to sculpt, to set. I am going to use this for setting. So my absolute favorite thing to use this size of a brush for is for setting powder. So I'm going to do that with you now. This is the House Lab setting powder, which you guys know I love. And I'm just going to dip into it. And I like to set underneath my eyes, because that is where, my mascara has gone on me, that is where, if not, my concealer will kind of, want to separate. And I love this because it's small. I like to go around the nose. Now, if you have an oilier complexion, you might choose this instead to highlight. You might choose it even, believe it or not, I have used this when really clean to blend eyeshadow. You know, if sometimes you get a little bit of a line and you kind of want to blend it out, it will work into the eye like that. And that's the brand new one. This is going to retail, I'm looking around to make sure I have the right information, for $35 unless you get it as part of the entire set. And it is mixed, okay? This is dyed. This is actually not mixed. This is actually dyed Seikoho goat hair, fully dyed. So that's on powder. Okay, let's put that one away and let's just move up. I'm not really doing them in any particular order. I'm just trying to give you guys the basics for information. Okay, let's talk about our soft buffer next. And here is the soft buffer. The soft buffer will sell for $60. This is undyed goat hair, and this can be used to bronze, to blush, to buff, to sculpt, to set. We're going to use it for blush today. I'll tell you why in a minute. On its own, this will be $60, and this one is exactly, this is not new, this is exactly what you would have had in the original handle, but it is in walnut instead. Okay, so, and a lot of you never got those original ones, so it's all new to you. $60 on its own. Now, the reason I'm going to use this soft buffer for blushes, I like it for gentle blushes because it is it's nice and dense. It's still airy, but it's nice and dense. Sonia G on her website even tells you measure the airiness of these brushes. If you, like me, are a bit of a brush geek and you love all that information, Sonia G has it for you. So we're going to use this today to blush with. I have brought over a Viseart, the Fleurette face palette in Amour, and I kind of have a little bit of purple on the eyes. So let's go into this purple shade. There's another reason I chose the Viseart. First of all, it's beautiful. Second of all, I wanted to show you that these brushes are really nice to get into. Sometimes we're using a blush with a big pan and it doesn't matter. But if you're using a blush with a small pan, these fit in really, really nicely, and then apply just enough product. Now the Viseart is nice and buildable, but as you see, some brushes, and people that don't work with really high quality brushes, first of all, I don't blame you, because, you know, they're hard to afford. So this isn't a pot shot. But people who don't work with them will think that sometimes, you know, where you place the blush, you're going to have to work around all of that. But the way that this smooths, and look at how it layers and smooths out the product. Now, again, I could have used this to sculpt or set. If you have an oilier complexion and you set more of your face with any sort of a powder, then that's perfect for it. Okay. Moving right along, now that I've done that, let's highlight with the Classic Cheek. Now, the Classic Cheek, this one is, you're going to recognize this one. Here is the Classic Cheek. This is from the new set. It has the new handle. It is $55 if you purchase it alone, and you might really recognize it from the Mini Kiyaki set. So this is the Mini Kiyaki right here, and this Mini Kiyaki used to be called, actually, the Classic Face. So this was called the Classic Face, meaning you could use it all over in the face, and it was done in a mini size handle and Kiyaki wood. This is walnut. It's the brand new one. It's got a regular size handle, and it is the same brush. Now, this one has been used so much that it's looking a bit fuller. This one is the new one, and it has been washed. I don't know if I told you that this will be $55. I did when purchased alone, and we're going to highlight with it today. Now, I have washed these brushes. It is tempting to dive right into these brushes when you get them and they're new. It's really tempting to dive right in and just use them. But it's always nice to wash these brushes, not only because they're natural hair and it's nice to have them clean. Okay, true. But also because the shape really changes. Here's how they come. Let me insert a photo. Here's how they come when they're brand new, and they're just kind of all bundled up like a little baby swathed in like a little burrito. And it's nice to open them up, kind of air them out, give them just a quick little wash. So these were washed and dried beautifully overnight, super easily. And it just makes the shape a little better. But it is true when you compare it to one that's been used a lot more. And I love my Mini Kiyaki. They do look a tad bit different, but they are the same. The longer handle with walnut wood. I brought over a Guerlain highlighter. Again, the nice thing is if you are using even an eyeshadow, I mean, if I wanted to go in and use one of these eyeshadows as a highlighter, I could get that brush in there. But this brush can also be used to sculpt. It can be used to set. Again, it's a little bit more airy. We're going to use it to highlight, but it really depends what the formula is of what you're using. And you know your makeup collection. Is it something that you want to put a lot on, a little bit? I like this for highlight because I don't like the highlight to be too much. So I like the fact that this is kind of airy. If I wanted a really more intense highlight, I might have used that blush brush for it. And because this is so airy and pretty, I'm just kind of putting this all over the cheeks because it's not laying down too much product. And that for me is a preference. I could have laid down a little less cheek color, switched these, right? And used that other shade, that soft buffer for this highlight and gotten even more of a highlighted look. I just don't prefer it. Now, I have a lot of people who will watch these types of videos by me or by one of my lovely colleagues here on YouTube and say, oh no, I was using it wrong. Oh no, I'm intimidated and don't know how to use it. Please take it from me. If it's working for you and you were using it differently or with a different type of product, you're still right. Okay, this dogmatic, you're not using it wrong, so that people can feel superior to you is inaccurate and unfair. And I have quoted oftentimes Lisa Eldridge, who says they're tools. Grab what you got there and make it work for you. And if it works for you, you're using it correctly. That is to my newbies out there. Please don't be intimidated by this. There are no rules. There are guidelines. And sometimes the guidelines are so useful. I'm not talking down to my food experts out there who have every brush. I'm not talking down to you. But those who are joining us or getting into this, please don't be intimidated. There are no rules. Just, try to keep the guidelines in mind and experiment and have fun. It's just makeup. You can wash it off if you don't like it. Okay, let's move on. Now we've used those 3 brushes. Now we have 3 fan brushes. And not to make a ridiculous pun, but I am not often a fan of fan brushes, but Sonia G definitely changed my mind and made me look at them differently. Fan brushes in the past were thin and horrible, and you could use them to highlight up here, and they felt very early 2000s, 2010-ish, So I have really changed my mind in how to do it. Let's look at these. These are all repeats, but with a walnut handle. Here is the Fan L. This is an $85 brush. Now you can see on all of these, the walnut, Sonia G didn't want to interrupt the beauty of the natural wood. So it does say Sonia G. There is a label on it, and it does, if you look really closely, tell you what brush it is. Okay, it does. You got to look a little closely. And if you're blind as a bat like me, it could be trouble. We're going to bronze with this guy today. He is $85 sold alone if you're interested in the Fan L. Again, if you have that very original set, you have it with a different handle. So many of you don't. It's all new to you. $85 if you buy him alone. He will blush, he will buff, he will sculpt, he will set, he will bronze, and we're going to use him to bronze. And I brought over a nice big deep bronzer from Charlotte Tilbury. This is her Airbrush bronzer. And again, this is powder. I am choosing to work with all powder products. This is undyed goat hair. You can go ahead and use this on a cream if you want to. I don't choose to. Please, there are no rules. Please don't pin yourself down. Please don't get it. I hit people on here, you guys, all the time. That application was done incorrectly. Oh, stop it. We're having fun. It's makeup. Please don't be intimidated. And if you are good at this stuff and you can share tips with us, my makeup artists, we love you. We love you. Give us tips. We want to hear them. Okay, I'm not trying to say we don't like tips. I'm just trying to say we don't like exclusion. We want to be very inclusive. Make everybody feel at home and welcome. But if you've got tips, you makeup artists out there, you makeup lovers out there, we love that too. Always. Okay, so we got some bronzer on this little guy here. This is the Fan L. Again, nice and washed. Spread his wings a little bit. I'm just going to take it like this. You can take it like that if you want to contour, which you know I don't contour. I just like to warm up the face. Okay, that's all I like to do. And I wasn't trying to make it sound like if you've got a tip or a trick that you shouldn't share it. Of course you should. That's why we're a community. I just meant please don't make others feel inferior because they're using it wrong. That's what I meant. My makeup artists out there understand me. I know that. Makeup artists are some of the nicest people you will ever meet. They're like a psychologist and a stylist rolled into one. I love them. So as you see, this really is super nice because it kind of I love this for bronzing, and of course I've worked with it in the original set. I love it for bronzing because it's just airy enough, but it just deposits enough product, and I didn't have to worry about it coming off. I mean, this is a dark bronzer, but I didn't have to worry about it coming off as too dark, and it's just makes you feel really pretty and sunshiny. Okay, we have 2 fans left. We have the fan M like Mary. This guy will be $65, and he is dyed goat hair. And then we have the fan A, which is undyed goat hair, and will also be $65. This little guy is great for buffing, for highlighting, for sculpting. This little guy is great for buffing, for blushing, for highlighting, for sculpting, to set, to bronze. The M is a little bit more versatile, could be used definitely to highlight, look at that, to bronze, to contour, or flat to blush. It holds a nice amount of powder product on it. I'm going to buff, I think, with this little guy. They will both buff. So many of these will. That's why I said you're not wrong. If you tell me, oh, I was using this one to buff. Really? Did you like it? Keep doing it. Why not? Okay, so let's pull out. You guys know it's always a pleasure to pull these out. This is the Guerlain Meteorites, a big favorite of mine and pretty much everybody, who am I kidding, for buffing. So I have my makeup pretty much done. This is going to be me for the day. And I'm going to go in, you can kind of shake it and do it off the cap, but let's go whole hog and go right into these beautiful little beads if you're unfamiliar. And I'm going to buff with a fan brush. Now you can use a flat, kind of like a totally flat headed brush, but I'm going to buff in circles with this, and you'll see the finished look. Let me take off my lipstick there. There we go. You'll see the finished look as I go around in circles. Now let me just take down that annoying mirror. Sorry about that. So this side I've used to buff, and I went right over the blush, right over the bronzer, right over the highlighter with this beautiful, beautiful brush. And you might say, oh, I've always used a flat-headed brush for that. Okay, that's right too. That's right too. And could you do some sort of a cream product because this is undyed? Sure, why not? But I love this too. You might even use this. Look at the eye. Fits. Fits. You know what? If you bake or if you like to put a powder on, just in case you get any fallout, try this little guy to brush that powder away underneath the eyes. These are guidelines. These are guidelines. Sonia G herself would tell you if you're finding a fun way to use them, go for it. They're just guidelines. I don't want anyone to purchase this set, and you can just buff as long as you want. These are so like sensually soft. It's kind of a fun exercise in self-care to use them, and it's really nice to just kind of do that finished look on the face, okay? Now, I will admit, I'll be the first to admit that as a whole set, they're pricey. For me, that's a price I didn't mind paying because I use brushes so much and I am a bit spoiled and a little bit, I admit it, a little bit of a brush snob. I'm not really a snob about anything, but you know, about brushes if I could be. And so I just tried to do very, very briefly. Again, Sonia G on her website, Sweet Makeup Temptations, really goes into the really interesting minutia of it all. I kind of like, but you know, airiness and comparing handles and thickness of fan brushes and things like that. And so if that kind of technical info you would like, you can ask me below and I'll tell you. Or you can head on over there and I will link it below because she's so intelligent and well-spoken and knowledgeable about these brushes that she's created and about the Japanese artistry involved in these brushes in general. So right now, depending on when you're watching it, it might not have a link there, but they are released on July 18th. So come back and use my link if you would. It doesn't cost you anything, but it does help the channel. I just wanted to get this out because I know some of you are kind of on your mark, get set, go with these brushes, and I thought this might give you a little bit of time to research more, but I'm unable to have a link, so it's a toss-up. But a few of you told me, you've got them, can we see them? And so I thought I would just get this out early. I hope it's helpful. But I'm really responsive with my community, even if you're new here. Go ahead and leave a question below. I'll make sure to answer it for you or refer you to where you can get the answer. Beautiful craftsmanship, gorgeous brushes. I have zero regrets in my purchase. Okay, but let me know, what are you planning to do? Was this video helpful to you? And what questions do you have? And what advice do you have? We love advice. We love tips. Let us know what you do and how you use them. I love it. I was just saying not to be rude to anyone. You know what I mean. So that's what makes us a community. Leave that below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I sure hope that you did. Hey, if you haven't already done so, make sure that you subscribe to this channel so we can continue to grow. Go ahead and give me a quick visit over on Instagram, TikTok, and now on Threads. And don't forget, you can become a bigger part of this community by becoming a channel member for behind the scenes and really cool weekly gossip sessions, lives. Or you can also give super thanks. But in any way that you choose to be here, please know that I am just thrilled to have you, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Bye-bye.